How's it going, everybody? Today is going to be a super fun, super important, and super necessary video about the new raids that are coming to replace the incursion raids. That's right, I'm going to butcher this name, so please let me know in the comment section below phonetically how I'm supposed to say this. The Orchis raids? My World of Warcraft brain is wanting me to call this Orchis. So in this video, we're going to talk about the requirements, the lane composition, what you can expect to get in here, and honestly, I think it's going to be mostly positive with a WTF on one particular point. But let's jump right into it, starting with this. The raid on Orchis. I'm sorry. Correct me in the comments. Thump baddies and grab Crimson gear with your alliance with the newest raid that's coming your way soon. Raid on Orchis calls on all your top squads and some of the newest raid teams to dispatch enemy waves, including the upcoming Tech Orchis team. It's definitely not Orchis. We'll have more information in a future blog. It's not Orchids either, right? Anyway, and the other team you'll see below, the Night Stalkers. That's gotta be the Karen Page team, right? Night Stalkers, vampires, yada yada. So maybe start working up your Moon Knight now if you want to be ready for the Mystic section. But for now, let's take a look at this new raid. 2 unique maps. Raid on Orchis features 2 unique maps for your alliance to choose from. Raid on Orchis and Raid on Orchis Omega. The Omega map contains more mission nodes to complete. So there's 71 in the regular mode, and there's 71 in the Omega mode, and there's 51 in the normal mode. And you get improved rewards for doing the one that has more nodes. The enemy's difficulty, power, gear is the exact same. So if your alliance wants a bigger challenge of completing more nodes in exchange for improved rewards, the Omega map is your destination. This is basically to help combat empty alliances, so that if you're missing 4 or 5 people, you can still hit 70%, still hit 100%. So it's to help try and combat that. I think this is a good thing that they're going to try. The fact that you get more rewards, again, like World of Warcraft, makes more sense, because if you have more needs, like when you do a 25-man raid, you get better rewards, and when you do a 10-man raid, so it makes sense, but it also increases the accessibility to people, which I really like. So requirements and difficulties. You'll need a top squad composed of the following traits from various missions: bio, mutant, mystic, skill, and tech. So yes, this is replacing the incursion raids. Each map will contain a default difficulty and 3 additional difficulties that are toggled with a difficulty selector. Here are the character requirements for each difficulty. This is where people are going to be very happy, I believe. The default specific mission node trait only. So you just need to make sure you're using your bio, your skill, your mystic, your tech, blah, blah, blah. Then for difficulty 1, you just need blue ISO 3, difficulty 2, blue ISO 4, and difficulty 3, blue ISO 5. And I get difficulty 3 twice there, but you get it. So 1, blue 3, 2, blue 4, 3, blue 5. Now that blue ISO is so much more accessible than ever has been before, including trading up on your ISO type, trading up the ISO cost. I think this is going to be really, really good. And I'm so happy it's not purple ISO, so we can continue to focus on our Odin unlocked characters rather than deviating to our raid teams. But with the difficulty, maybe we're going to want to default to some of our raid teams anyway, so maybe that'll change the priority. Not sure how that's going to shake up yet. We're going to have to wait and see these raids first. Combat modifiers. This was scaring everybody, but I think this is actually just another good thing. Select any difficulty activates combat modifiers, buffs, for your players. And the modifiers increase the base stats, excluding your health, and provide on-spawn barrier. These modifiers are intended to increase the power of newer raid characters so that they feel more powerful at lower stars. The modifiers don't build upon one another. So, it's going to work on the new raid teams, the Orchids team and the Night Stalkers team, but it's also going to work on our other teams. So for the default, 64% increase in your base stats and 30% barrier on spawn. Difficulty 1, 43% base stats and 20% barrier on spawn. Difficulty 2, 25% base stats and 15% barrier on spawn. And difficulty 3, 15% base stats and 10% barrier on spawn. So you get a giant buff for doing the default difficulty, and I think that is for a reason for when people get that super free to play. So we're gonna have to see. This might be the most difficult raid we've ever had as well, if they're doing this, which seems like way out of the norm, right? Or maybe it's because they're trying to fall in line with these new characters having less passives in their kits and everything like that. So, but here's with the big ooh, what does this mean, right? The combat modifiers affect the traits specified for a specific node. Here are the traits you'll see effect in each map. The Orchis map, the Hive Mind, the Extreme X-Men, the Night Stalkers, and the Spider Society. So, I mean, this is really good news. So we know in this raid tier, Hive Mind, Extreme, and Spider Society, safe builds. If you haven't already brought them up to level 100, gear tier 18, ISO 5, with all the correct T4s, like, pull that trigger. I don't know what you've been waiting for. They've been good everywhere in the game already, but pull that trigger. Maybe we're going to need some gear tier 19s on them. That could change up some Dark Dimension 7 priorities, but even that, I think I would still just beat Dark Dimension 7 and then use the rewards to build up some of these characters, because I don't think they're as good. Like, I wouldn't build up Hive Mind for City. In the Extreme team, there's a lot of Osmium use there, and in the Cosmic section that it would be kind of tough, right? So I would actually probably do some of them after the fact. But it's nice to know these trees are safe. But you might have noticed two of our current teams are not on here. Pegasus and Bifrost. So they will not be getting these combat modifiers, which is terrifying. Now, the thing about the Bifrost team and the Pegasus team is I was always curious how they were going to phase these teams out, because these teams have an insane on-spawn opener with Sylvie getting 45% speed bar and then rewinding by like 60%, and then Vol's damage as being absolutely nutty. And then Pegasus, every single one of them starts with 75% speed bar. So I'll be very interested to see how they combat that. They're definitely going to be phasing those teams out, so those nodes are going to be insane. And that leads us to something that I am actually very worried about, and that is the lanes. So the left side is going to start with Mutant, and then the next section is Mystic, and then the third section is Tech, and then Skill Bio. On the right side, the first section is Skill, Spider Society. But then the second section is Tech, Pegasus. The third section is Mystic, and then it's Bio Mutant. So I was always under the assumption that they were going to do exactly to whatever this raid is that they did to Incursion 2 from upgrading from Incursion 1, which is that Tech and Mystic were the two last sections in Incursion 1, and then they became the two first sections in Incursion 2. I just assumed that they were going to flip them back up to being the last two sections of this new raid, so that people were, getting 60%, and then the new team would come out, people would want to buy them so that they can go further. Now, there's definitely a couple things that have changed, right? So the Orchis team seems like it's going to be coming out first, so the Tech section is going to be okay. And then I think they're actually banking on a lot of the big boy alliances who have Mephisto to be able to power through the Mystic section. Maybe not all three lanes, but maybe by dogpiling one lane, they'll be able to get through it. I'm not sure what that's going to mean for the rest of us plebs, that's the concerning part, right? I haven't seen these nodes. I've not tested. I haven't been able to ask any questions about the viability of these teams. We're going to have to wait and see. Does this mean you should race to invest in your Pegasus and your Bifrost right now? Absolutely not. Because what if it's just impossible, right? And those are dead teams. So this is definitely going to be a wait and see moment. This is the definite feels bad moment about this new raid tier. I wish that they would have just kind of kept to the script that they wrote. But I guess we're going to have to wait and see how things shake up here, right? Yeah, I got to say, I'm still a little iffy about it. All right, so the rewards. Now for the good stuff. On top of the node rewards, there are 4 tiers of raid rewards based on your completion. So 10, 40, 70, and 100%. So still keeping in with that, much easier for alliances to at least get the first tier of rewards. And then if they just can't quite get 100%, still get that 70%. So I do like that they're at least keeping with that. Blast your way through as many nodes as possible with your alliance to grab Crimson Gear Raid Orbs, Armory 19, Teal Raid Orbs, Teal Epic Orbs, T2 ISO 8 credits, T2 L4 ions, so no purple ISO as a reward, raid credits, and elite credits, which I believe is the exact same as what we're currently getting. Now I can't, because my setup's a little bit scuffed, I'm just going to have to do this to read the last part of it. The Omega difficulty will have the first time rewards earned when reaching 50% difficulty 1 or higher. So the normal one with the 51 nodes, I guess, will not have first time rewards. So that is kind of a very important distinction. We'll have a full rundown of the new Orchis team in an upcoming blog, so be on the lookout for that. And in the meantime, commence speculation on who and what is going to be part of the Night Stalkers team. And begin, okay, well, I mean, that's kind of silly, guys. It's called Night Stalkers, vampires. We already know Moon Knight's on the team. We know Man Thing. We know Karen Page. We're assuming supernatural characters. We don't know who the other rework is. It could maybe Ghost Rider, maybe Elsa, maybe Voodoo. It's not Morbius because he didn't win that. We know that much. Maybe Mordo, and then definitely another new character. So we don't really need to speculate too much. Gage for Moon Knight up and running, I suppose. And I'm interested to see this new Orchis. I'm pretty positive it's going to have something to do with Sentinels being like this, right? But anyway, I'll be super curious to know how you guys feel about everything we read, especially this part right here, where we have the Mystic and the Tech nodes coming so early on in the raid. I definitely wasn't ready for this. Do you think our teams are still going to stomp by it? A lot of people, like myself included, on the smaller account, on the Alliance that I run, we had 6 people build Vol and somewhat build Bifrost, really, really big, so that we could solo drill through some nodes for our guys to get to the next nodes. Same with the Tech. But we really just built a huge Vol, right? So is this going to be possible if we completely build the Bifrost team? Part of me says hell no. But Death Seed somewhat worked early on in Incursion 2. So maybe we'll have to wait and see. I have my strong doubts. Is this going to be where you need to have your entire alliance has to have Bifrost built up and Pegasus built up just to single drill to dogpile one single lane? That would kind of suck. That would definitely make it a lot harder for alliances that have been growing near the end of the Incursion life cycle. But I'm be very interested to playtest these nodes and get back to you. I haven't done that yet. I'm not even sure if that's up in the playtest. I'm still on vacation, but I'll get you that information as soon as I do. So anyway, in summary, guys, the new Orchis raids, you guys please let me know how to say that in the comment section below phonetically. So there's only blue ice requirements. Huge win. Hive Mind, Extreme, Spider Society, super safe to build, huge win. Max those teams out, right? Because we're going to need them all the way up to difficulty 3. They have the modifiers for them all the way up to difficulty 3. Tech and Mystic, big concerns. That's kind of the huge, not the huge issue. That is the issue for me with this new raid launch. Everything else is kind of just perfect, which is I'm kind of waiting oh shit, what's going to happen? It's going to make this not actually perfect. Modifiers are used to help tagged raid characters. No tag restrictions. So when I say you can max out your extreme team, this doesn't mean max out your Cyclops. You can use Old Man Logan with your extreme team, and there is no combat modifier that's going to make Cyclops. I don't care if it's 64%. I don't care if it's 640%. That's going to make Cyclops better than Old Man Logan. Old Man Logan's going to take so many turns. He has so much control, stuns. It's just insane. And he can be a striker on the team, right? Which you want him a striker everywhere else now that he's no longer going to be arena viable. You got Gambit, Nightcrawler throwing out vulnerables all over the place. Sunspot's going to be able to get his charges up, no problem. Old Man Logan's going to be taking infinite turns. Definitely Old Man Logan is the unofficial 5th of the Extreme team, which I think is super cool because we just had his event. A lot more people have him a lot bigger. That's going to be great. And then for the Hive Mind section, I would slowly roll on Venom a little bit. We'll have to wait and see. Does Skrull replace Venom? Or does possibly Gore replace Venom? This is going to be a very interesting time for the Hive Mind team as well. Spider Society team, nothing replaces them. Build all 5 of them up to the moon. They're amazing. They're actually a super scary defense team in their own right. Correct? Correct. So super happy there's no tag restrictions on the characters. The rewards are the exact same as Incursion 2. So I expect them just to be increased. More raid credits, more elite credits to open up more Crimson stuff, more Crimson Orbs in total, more ISO, which I don't know, we're kind of all swimming in ISO, but that has been heavily based on the events that have been giving us a lot of ISO 4, ISO 5 lately. So the same rewards is kind of okay, maybe they'll add something down the line. If not, maybe it'll just be so much we'll be able to gear tier 19 a lot more characters. We'll have to wait and see. But at the same time, hey, it's new PvE content. Get into the new PvE content. And there's 2 different size maps, right? There is the 51 node map and the 71 node map, if I'm remembering correctly. So I think that's really cool. And I think that this raid in general is a big win. Now, the awkwardness is coming off the heels of what we just saw with the Incursion. They randomly put ISO purple on some of those characters. I'm wondering, were they working on this raid in the files and somebody oopsied put it in the wrong folder? Or is this they buff raids, shadow buff raids? And then I think is that okay though? What if they make the Tech and the Mystic section less painful at the start of this raid cycle so that we can actually do the new raids, and then they increase it so that Tech and Mystic is then miserable later down the line? It would be good in the short term, but then people would complain. It's a tough conversation to have for sure. I hope the raids aren't completely gated off the Mystic and Tech and just nobody can do it unless you have Mephisto and 24 3.3 million Pegasus teams. We'll have to wait and see though. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope it's helpful. Let me know what you think about these new raids coming in the comment section below, especially the Mystic and Tech conversation. I'd love to hear it, and especially how to pronounce this word correctly. But from now, stay happy, healthy, have fun. The next video that I actually record in person is going to be back home. My voice is not going to be better by then. We're just having too much fun. We're playing. We're too rowdy. 3 boys life, right? All right, guys. Have yourself a wonderful day. Bye.